Welcome to the Queen Mary.
Here we go.
The famous 1930s liner RMS Queen Mary has been permanently moored as a floating hotel since she retired from Cunard service in 1967. Queen Mary was launched in 1934 and named by Her Majesty Queen Mary, the Queen Consort of King George V. Queen Mary was retired in 1967 after a long and distinguished career which saw her involved in transporting a large proportion of the people involved in the D-Day landings. The ship was used extensively as a troop carrier and then a transatlantic liner throughout the 1950s and 60s. However, on her retirement, she sailed on her longest peacetime voyage and arrived in Long Beach, California, where she was converted into a floating hotel and remains open to this day. Now, Queen Mary as a hotel is a unique experience, something that you don't get to experience very much around the world. In fact, you could actually visit more ancient pyramids today than you can retired ocean liners, with only a handful left in the world that allow you to go on board and spend time on board the ship. Having recently visited RMS Queen Mary and stayed overnight on board, I can personally say that this is one of the most remarkable experiences that any cruising or maritime history buff could possibly partake in. The ship celebrates its 90th anniversary of its maiden voyage this year in 2026, and so to be able to stay overnight in relatively original conditions on board a 90-year-old ocean liner is something that you should definitely try out if you are in the area or if you're planning to stay in Los Angeles or Long Beach. It's well worth spending a night on board the ship. Welcome aboard the RMS Queen Mary.
I think you mean Grandma Mary, Chris.
Well, that's certainly the name that has become quite popular recently.
I think so.
I'm Chris, this is Luke.
G'day guys.
You'll recognise Luke from other videos in my channel because we were on Queen Mary 2 just recently, and we're now here on board the original Queen Mary, or Grandma Mary, to film the ship for you and take you on a tour of this remarkable ship. And it's our first time on board. Yeah. So you will see it as we see it, and from what we've seen so far, it's just remarkable. I mean, look at that ship. How can you not be impressed with that? So let's go for a walk around the ship, Luke. So from the bow here, we're going to head towards the superstructure of the ship, but a few things to point out around here, Luke. There's, of course, all the original machinery on the bow of the ship here, including the anchors, anchor chains rather, and of course they went down to the anchor store just below. You can see all the equipment here.
Such a great bow, isn't it?
It's huge, isn't it?
Amazingly
so big.
Huge bow, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, we've got access to storage areas. So where they used to use this ship was obviously a transatlantic liner with passengers, but ultimately also carried cargo. So you've got all the derricks here attached to the mast. And I think one of the areas that surprises you the most, Luke, is the height of the crow's nest, you were saying.
It's that crow's nest. It's just incredible. Like, I just can't...
There it is.
I just can't imagine being sat up there in the middle of the Atlantic in those wintry, blistery conditions.
Yeah.
And being subject to the elements. Yes, they've got some shelter up there, but not a lot.
No.
You know, and it's to sit up there that high whilst... I mean, that mast would move in high winds, right?
Oh, so. And in the waves that the ship was encountering.
Yeah.
Back up to that crow's nest up there. But can you imagine that's like... so high up, and it's such a small structure, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's leave the outdoor areas and let's go into the ship. This was the third class or tourist class entrance, and it was led through to the tourist class garden lounge. Hello, Luke.
Oh, g'day, Chris.
We're travelling tourist class today.
Third class, mate. That's me.
Yes, yeah. And here we have it's not in use, but it's where one of the ship's elevators would have been. We'll head this way and go into the third class garden lounge, or tourist class garden lounge. So at the moment it's set up with tables and chairs, but back when the ship was in service, this would have been a busy communal area, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely. This would have been the place to be.
And you can actually see the
I don't know if it comes up on camera, Luke, but the angle of the floor, of the deck rather, I should say, angles upwards because this ship has a shear.
That's correct, yeah.
Which is that noticeable curve that you see on older ships from the bow to the stern. I think if we come around to this side, we can actually see, if that door opens still, you'll see the deck disappear into the deckhead. Heading forwards, I seem to have misplaced Luke, so we'll just go and try and find him. Oh, here he is. G'day, mate.
G'day, Chris.
What have you found?
I tell you what, for a ship from the 1930s to have Pepsi and ice machines on board, incredible.
Technology was quite something.
I had no idea. There you go.
Here we have one of the ship's staircases. And the old ships used to have these open wells down their staircases. Anyone who travelled on Queen Mary, rather, successor, QE2, will remember her ones of these, and this is sort of where the design was first implemented on board Queen Mary. So the decks were covered in linoleum, which was quite stylish in the times, and it makes that sort of squishy noise under your feet. We've now made our way down onto A deck. You can see the way that they had these little sort of alcoves for the cabin entrances. But on some cabins, it was shared. So you've got the main entrance alcove here, and then you walk through and there's a cabin on the forward and aft side of this little secondary corridor. And in terms of the ship's height, well, I'm almost 2 meters, about 6 foot 6.5. And actually, headroom-wise, she's got quite a lot more space than quite a lot of the modern cruise ships. I can fit through the fire door here without ducking, and can't do that on contemporary ships such as, say, Queen Victoria or Queen Elizabeth and many of the passenger corridors. So, but gosh, walking these decks, Luke.
Oh, there's like nothing else.
And all of the people that must have experienced this exact same thing as us over the years.
Yeah, to think of the journeys that people have had on these ships, on this Grandma Mary, to think of the journeys they've done, even just still thinking back to those trooping services, it's just, I just can't imagine what the ship's energy and atmosphere would have been like during those times.
Can you imagine spending 16,000 people on this ship?
It'd be pretty cramped.
It was, yeah. I mean, from all accounts, there was coded areas where you were and weren't allowed to go to maintain the stability of the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Incredible.
Anyway, we found ourselves in another space to share with you, and this is, of course, the purser's office, first class purser's office. It's now used as the ship's main reception, and you can see on the top of the desk there's the clocks that were used to keep track of time across the Atlantic. They've got New York, Southampton, Paris, Cape Town, Tokyo, and they've added one as Long Beach because, of course, this is where the ship is located now. This led in through what would have been the embarkation shell doors, and on the starboard side of the ship, they've actually replaced these doors with big windows, but it gives you an idea as to the scale of these entrance doorways.
It's great to see some of the original artwork still on the ship. You know, it's stuff to think that a lot of this artwork has been here since the ship was built or since she was in service is quite incredible. And it's actually held pretty well.
Particularly if you're looking at this this woodwork here, that's been, different kinds of wood have been used to make the image of the ducks here.
Yeah.
And they're behind glass now, so that they've been preserved. But and all of the woodwork that's used throughout the ship is quite remarkable, isn't it?
Definitely.
Don't build them like this anymore.
No, definitely not. It's also got that Grandma Mary smell, right? It's just got that unique smell. It's incredible, which just adds to the atmosphere of the ship.
Yeah, she's got I can't even quite describe it. It's sort of
Like a rustic smell.
yeah, a little bit musty, a little bit hotel, a little bit ship still.
Yeah. Not a bad smell.
No.
It just adds to the.
Well, all ships have a smell of some sort, and some of them aren't that great. But this one sort of it smells like those old style woods.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is quite quite nice.
Yeah.
Hey mate, one of the things that's great about this ship, right, is if you walk down some of the corridors, you can find places that you would never expect to see. So we're in one of the third class lobbies.
Yep.
In B deck.
B deck.
And you had the third class nursery there. There's a little lounge space next to of the
So
lobby.
that's the Carpathia room.
I think it's probably locked. Yeah, it looks like it's locked.
Yeah.
But here's where the lift would come down, the elevator, connecting those decks. Above us was where we were for that in that previous lounge, the third class lounge. And here, oh Luke, there's some original flooring down here.
Oh yeah.
Look at this as we make our way down to our deck. So they used to have the decks on the floor so you could get on the flooring so you could get an idea as to where you were on the ship. All parts of the ship that are not used as often, they're kind of closed off, but they can use them for receptions and other sorts of events and activities. Gosh, I wasn't expecting to see this. The ship had quite a lot of elevators.
She did.
Not many of them are in use at the moment, though, are they?
No, I think it's only the main ones. Actually, I don't know if any of the internal ones are working, but not that we haven't found one yet. But
the historical elevators are sort of kept there with their little signs on, so you could see where they were. But I suppose trying to get a 90-year-old elevator to work,
yes,
must be quite challenging. But I also think it's quite interesting how the deck head goes up like this, so it sort of links up into this curved pattern on the top and bottom.
Yeah.
It gives it a sort of sense of elegance that I think you wouldn't necessarily see on modern day ships. The other thing that's really interesting is that if you're on a modern cruise ship, you'll notice that the whole deck head is movable panels.
Yeah.
So they can get to all the plumbing and all of the lines and stuff that are fed through here. But this is all solid. So accessing things like plumbing services and wiring was done in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
You can see here the panels. They can come off, they've been screwed in. So the access was by each of the sides of the corridors rather than from the top.
Oh wow.
And then this thing here was one of the Corbell lights. So you would press a button in your cabin to call for service.
Yeah.
You can see them throughout as well in the different corridors. And the light would illuminate, letting the steward know that you wanted assistance in your room.
Wow.
So this was the cabin class entrance. And so it was a lobby hall here, linked through to the stairs. And then there was actually elevators, which the only ones that I can find that are still operational, which are over there, right in front of us. And they all had these little bureaus for passenger information. These ones have got information that's displayed from the ship's service career. What have you found, buddy?
Well, eerily, this is the death list. So these bits of papers here that list people that have passed away on the ship over different cruises, like their causes of death or location.
Goodness.
It's quite a interesting read. The little board here says that there's a total of 58 death listed, but all the deaths during her wartime services have been kept confidential, so they believe there's actually a lot more.
Yes, I would imagine so, with so many people on board
Yeah.
during those services. Did you want to try the lifts out and see if they See if they still work.
Oh, yep. We do have to fly out tonight, so hopefully we don't get stuck.
Let's go down. This could be a very riveting piece of the video.
This could be a long wait.
Could be a long wait. All right, we'll see you in the lift.
All right, here's the lift.
Here's the lift. Oh, it's quite small actually.
It is, yes.
Yes?
Yeah, and it's smaller than I thought it would be.
There you go.
But we'll head on up, hey?
Yeah, let's head up.
I believe these are the only lifts that work on the ship, I think.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of lifts on board for a ship of that era.
Definitely, yeah.
So here we are back on main deck, and this is where our room is. We were actually originally booked in a standard twin room.
Yep.
And we were very excited about that, but when we arrived here, the hotel very kindly upgraded us to the King George suite.
It's very nice.
So
although you might have to wait a little bit longer because this is on our floor.
Well, welcome back.
Yep.
Programming has been restored. I should have noticed actually that the purser's desk isn't on main deck. So
Yes, that's all right.
Anyway, we're heading up now to main deck, and here we are.
We're new to this ship just like you are.
Exactly. Exactly. So here we have it. Just as I was mentioning before, there is sort of embarkation and lobby areas throughout the ship for the various classes. Here we have the ticket sales bureau. This is for people who want to book onward travel or booking other transatlantic crossings. And this has been set up to look a little bit like it would have been when the ship was in service. Everything would have been done manually by paper and paper tickets, and
Yeah.
the old telephones there.
So cool.
Let's head down towards our cabin. Our suite, I should say.
Yes, that's sweet.
The lighting's quite dark, isn't it? The ship's got a sort of a deep ambience to it.
But it just adds to it more, to right? It just adds to that feel of the ship. It just adds to that overall sense that you're on honor. You know, it's just
it's pretty special.
Grandma Mary's special all the way through.
The King George suite.
King George.
M113111.
And again, more technology they had back in the day. Electronic locks. Incredible.
So you've got the entrance little area here, which is pretty cool. But let's go through to the main room, hey?
Yeah, definitely.
So it goes through to this main living area. Pretty spacious.
And I think what's even more amazing, you get to operate the portholes.
Oh yes.
On Queen Mary.
They open, don't they?
They do open, yes. Yeah, with the old style locks with the old bolts on them.
Yeah,
so they used to be held
push
in.
that one out the way. We can actually open this one up.
Look at that. Plenty of space. I believe the cabin sleeps up to 6 is what we got told. Is that right?
I think the couch folds out. I also believe that you can, if you book in like enough of the suites, they take these doors, they open up and interconnect 2 suites together.
But I think what's important for people to remember is that this isn't a modern ship.
No.
The rooms aren't modern.
No.
So there's no aircon. There's you can't change the temperature in the room. So just keep that in mind, especially if you do book like during winter. I know California's still quite warm in winter, but just keep that in mind if you do.
And there's lots of birds around, so it's probably a good idea when you're not using it to close the porthole.
That's a good call.
But they've got still all the original, so you can still see like these original drawers. What I think is quite interesting is that the cupboards have buttons on the top of the door handle, because when the ship's at sea you don't want to have the doors moving around, so if you push the button and open, it gives you access to the cupboard space.
And the old fan, how cool is that?
The original fans here, they don't actually operate, but they still have the switches that you could use. And more heating here with the heating control. So there's a heat off button. That's looking back out towards the entrance. Should we go and have a look at the master bedroom?
Definitely.
So we'll go through the main entrance here, and then This is the master suite, master bedroom. So again, there's a little dresser there, a mirror, 2 portholes in this room, master bed. And then, speaking of the ventilation again, there were these air vents.
Now, did these used to draw in air from the scoops that were up on deck?
Yes, those gigantic scoops up on the deck, the huge cowls up there, they operated these, and this thing could be adjusted, but also they are still in operation, some of those.
They do. When you are on deck, you can hear some of them still drawing in air, right?
You can. And some of them, not all of them, but some of them, you can actually still feel air coming out of. So there's a bathroom, a little ensuite bathroom. Most of the rooms on Queen Mary when she was in service didn't have en-suites.
Yep.
But this one here has the original taps too. So there's salt, cold, hot, fresh, cold, fresh, and they've got the cold salt on here twice. One of them must have been hot salt at the top. But that was because the ship didn't used to be able to carry enough water for the full voyage, so she would passengers could use salt water as well.
There you go. Interesting stuff.
They don't work anymore.
No, they are inoperable.
And then there's actually more space here. So through the main lounge area, there's another bathroom, which is a little sort of sink area here. And then that leads through to another bathtub, again with the original taps. Queen Mary has the dreaded shower curtains, but we'll forgive her that, won't we?
Yes, we will.
And there's another bedroom as well.
Yes.
And Luke very kindly let me have the master suite last night, so...
I did. I slept in the child's room.
He took the children's bedroom, which was very good of you. But it has its own little sink, and then its own bed. This whole built-in cabinet area here, and again one of these air vents. Ventilation.
I think this is an unsponsored video, but if ever you get the opportunity, and if you're ever in LA for a spare night, definitely come and spend a night on the Old Queen, because you won't forget it.
Amazing space.
What an incredible space.
I mean, the height of it is remarkable.
Yeah.
If you just ignore that Bud Light shoe in the middle of the room. But it's just superb. It was a marvel when the ship came into service, and you can really see why. I love how the original artwork has been preserved all these years later.
Looks great, doesn't it?
And you know what really gets me in this space, Luke?
What's that?
The height. It's reminiscent of the main dining room on Queen Mary 2, where it spans multiple decks.
Yes, definitely. These rooms must be a dream for a person like you, with having this so much headroom.
I know, yes, for somebody tall, it's absolutely wonderful, but the view that you get looking down towards this wonderful image of the North Atlantic with the ocean liners there. You've got Queen Elizabeth and Aquitania on the American side, and of course Queen Mary on the British and European side. Queen Elizabeth was actually added after this ship came into service.
Okay.
Because of when she first entered service, she wasn't here. And the clock. So when the ship was in service, this was used as a main first class lounge for passengers to gather and mingle. Now it's used for events, and we are here on board the ship just before the 4th of July holiday, so it currently has decoration that wouldn't have necessarily been on board the ship. However, they did used to do parties on the last sea days, and we have seen photographs of this room full of balloons.
Yes.
From those. There's a dance floor here. There's lots of lovely comfortable seating throughout. And the Art Deco fixtures and fittings, Luke.
I believe this is the room where they had on the last night before she arrived in Long Beach, they had quite the send-off party for her in here, I believe.
Yes, I've heard stories that there was lots and lots of free-flowing alcohol, lots of dancing, commemorating the ship's service career, and then lots and lots of tears at the end, Luke.
I can imagine. You know, we read a few stories yesterday and we heard a few stories yesterday when we were on board about the emotion and, you know, how attached people get to the ships when they're working on them and spending so much time on them, many months at a time. And the ship becomes part of their family, becomes an extended part of their family. So, you know, when it's removed from service, it's like losing a family member.
It certainly is, particularly for the crew who've worked on board for such a long time.
Definitely.
But just again, this space, like the architectural marvel that it is in terms of the ability to have such high height, natural light coming in through the windows that are from the deck house above, and then it raises up even higher for that beautiful Art Deco style lighting.
Incredible.
Just remarkable. Walking the decks of the Queen Mary.
Grandma Mary, walking your decks. I tell you what, there is something very special about doing this, especially in the beautiful California sun.
It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
It is an absolute cracker of a day.
So we're currently walking where the lifeboats would have been, but the lifeboats have been removed recently due to corrosion and the fact that they were getting aged and dangerous. But you still have the davits here.
Yes.
It gives you a bit of a sense of what it would have been like to walk the decks, and you take a stop here and you can see the beautiful view. Imagine sailing across the Atlantic on this ship. And you can probably hear in the background the ventilation, the cowls are still drawing air in from the ship all these years later. But we're going to head towards the bridge now and see if we can either get some views of the bridge wings, but maybe even get onto the bridge, into the wheelhouse if it's open.
That'd be great.
The bridge is open.
Here we go.
Let's go and have a look inside the bridge and the wheelhouse of the Queen Mary.
So I just walked to the start and stood there for a couple of seconds and then walked back.
Oh wow, check it out.
And then I was reading this new book too.
The original
And it was funny because
equipment.
It's written by Brandon Coffin, and on the back of it has
It's been nicely restored too and well looked after.
Has completely analog, this ship.
the guy who made my headset ready. And I was like, oh my god, what's the
So these telegraphs would be used to signal the engine room to tell them what they wanted them to do with the engines. It's quite something, isn't it, mate?
It is absolutely incredible, mate. The brain is still not quite comprehending where I am, where I'm standing right now, and I suppose the history of what I'm seeing right now. You know, I've been lucky enough to hear your talks many times over the years, and I've heard a lot of information about the ship, heard a lot of stories about the ship, and to be standing on her
It's quite something.
is quite incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to see that gigantic red funnel, or the 3 red funnels behind us.
Yeah.
There you go, look at that. How good is that?
So cool.
So cool. Now, did you know that those funnels aren't actually the originals?
No?
So when the ship came to Long Beach and they were doing the restoration work, they had to remove the funnels. They realized that most of it was corroded, and it was really just like layers and layers and layers of paint that were holding it all together.
Okay.
So they actually built her replicas. They did a very good job, I thought.
I think they've done very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so much of the ship is original and is intact,
Yeah.
as you're experiencing on this tour of the ship.
It's so great.
So right there where that wooden sort of housing is there,
Yep.
there'd be a wheel that's connected directly down to the engine steering control, the rudder steering control. So if anything happened to the bridge, they could use this as a secondary location.
Wow,
They could
okay.
also steer the ship from the aft they needed to
Yep.
for docking. And they'd have telegraphs up there as well so they could communicate with the bridge. So it's the International Shopping Promenade, which is just stunning.
It's incredible.
The Art Deco stylings here. I think probably one of the most beautifully restored areas on board as well.
I'll agree with you on that. It certainly feels incredibly special, this little place here.
They've recently redone all of the flooring to be in the same decorative style as what was used on the ship when she entered service.
Okay.
So you've got the great amount of detail there.
Amazing.
How many different people over the eras that the ship's been either in service or as a hotel have walked through here to purchase things and check out these shops?
Yeah. It's incredible to imagine, and there's a book I recognise in there.
Yeah, it's one of our books. Look at that, 175 years of Cunard. Right here on board the Queen Mary.
Grandma Mary.
Yes, we're getting people leaving Grandma Mary in the comments now, dude.
But this is certainly a special area on the ship, that's for sure.
It sure is.
Yeah.
So do you happen to have a favourite space on board the ship so far?
The observation bar for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very, very great atmosphere, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was awesome.
It also has been beautifully restored as well. At the
It has.
moment it's closed, but we'll try and get in there again before we leave the ship.
Definitely.
And then if we head aft, you can see on the main stairway here, there is the image of Her Majesty Queen Mary, and below that there was actually Queen Mary's standard, the royal standard that used to be displayed. This is a replica here now because the original actually went to QE2, but you can sort of see how they've tried their best to make it as accurate as possible. But this is also just definitely one of my favourite spots.
Yeah.
Let's go check out the model gallery.
Let's do it.
So Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth were both very much beloved for their internal promenades, which would allow you to walk and promenade the ship.
Yeah, this is cool.
Without getting, here we go, turn it around, without getting wet or whatever if it's rough weather. So you have these beautiful windows.
So you're not subjected to those, sometimes harsh conditions of the Atlantic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then also they have this fantastic model gallery with ships, all different eras of ships. There's Titanic here. But I think we'll go and have a look at Normandy, hey?
Oh, the Normandy model was pretty cool.
The great rival of the Queen Mary.
She was, yes. Not faster though.
Well, no, yes. The two of them had a great duel, didn't they?
They did. That they did. She tried her best to try and take the old speed record off Mary, but unfortunately was unsuccessful.
Yes, Mary ultimately, after Normandy won the record, Mary took it back in 1938 and held on to it till 1952. Amazing amount of work that went into these models.
Oh yeah, they're incredible models.
And there's also Lusitania. You can also feel the slope of the ship's deck as well as the shear kicks in.
Yes.
This is Lusitania's two-level first-class dining room here.
Right in the middle of the ship.
It's funny because it gave the impression that the domed deckhead would be where the top of the ship was, but of course there was another room above it. And this links back through to either access to the forward end of the vessel outside, or you can go back in and access the observation lounge, which, if it opens again before we leave the ship, we will take you for a walk through, and if not, you'll get to enjoy some images of the space now.
Yeah.
Here we have the children's playroom for the first class passengers, just by the observation bar.
Sort of like an older version of today's kids club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you used to find on cruise ships.
And they would have qualified British nannies on board the Cunard White Star ships to entertain and look after the children whilst their parents were enjoying the rest of the ship. So now we've got something exciting, haven't we?
I believe so. I think we're going to be heading into the depths of the ship and go and look at those engines.
Yep, checking out the engine room and a surprise view of Queen Mary's propeller.
Be so cool.
Now, when the ship was turned into a floating hotel, they had to decommission the onboard plants, Luke, and bring all these shore services in, like sewage and water and electricity and that sort of thing. So you can see some of the piping here that's been connected to the shore.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out before, the hull's looking a little bit worse for wear down there.
Looks like it's its own marine life ecosystem.
Yep. So, you know, standing here looking at the ship, and although she's been painted and she's looking beautiful on the inside, you have to think about these sorts of things. It's 90 years old.
Yeah.
How long will she last? If you have a chance to see her, don't wait. Well, this is a bit different, isn't it?
What's that?
This whole space of the ship.
It's very open. Very open and very wide. And
So definitely not original.
well, you wouldn't feel like you're on the ship right now, right?
No, not really. But this is actually on board Queen Mary, towards the aft,
Yeah.
right by the waterline. And it gives you access to the engine room. So we'll go down to the engines and check out what's left.
I'm excited.
Speaking of excited, check out this Lego.
Wow. It's pretty cool.
Wow, that is one big Lego kit.
That is huge. That puts the Lego Titanic one to shame, doesn't it?
It sure does. That is massive.
It's huge. Some great models on this ship.
Yeah, there's models here of the original Queen Elizabeth and the original Queen Mary.
She still breaks my heart, Elizabeth, her ending.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
lost to a fire in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Actually, the photos that Steve Payne showed during his talk were quite incredible of the fire cut from the ship.
Yes.
It was, it's quite extensive.
Yeah, totally wrecked the ship and she was not ever able to be salvaged. But a beautiful ship in her own right. Wow, mate. This is pretty cool, isn't it?
Cool is not the word I'd use.
No, I'm kind of lost for words.
As am I. If anyone's got any other word, please leave them in the comments. But this is incredible.
You can see the turbines down there.
Yeah. Wow.
Amazing. Main circulating pumps.
Having recently visited RMS Queen Mary and stayed overnight on board, I can personally say that this is one of the most remarkable experiences that any cruising or maritime history buff could partake in. The ship celebrates its 90th anniversary of its maiden voyage this year in 2026, and so to be able to stay overnight on board a 90-year-old ocean liner is something that you should definitely try out if you are in the area or if you're planning to stay in Los Angeles or Long Beach. It's well worth spending a night on board the ship. As always, a huge thank you to our channel members. Your support is what helps make these videos possible. If you'd like to join the crew and get your name on the screen like these great people, please do so by following the link in the description below. It would be great to have you on board. As always, don't forget to check out my Substack, The Maritime Historian, for more in-depth articles about maritime history. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope to see you on board. This video is brought to you by me and my new book, The Evolution of the Passenger Ship. In The Evolution of the Passenger Ship, we've brought years of research together to create a book that takes you on a journey from the earliest sailing ships right the way through to the modern behemoths that we see today. The evolution of the passenger ship is available at all good bookshops, and if you buy a copy, you help us by supporting the channel.